What's up, everybody? Kevin Stewart here, and today I decided to do something different besides watching Andrew Grandpa. I'm going to do a scary video scream. Like, and this is 3 more text conversations with disturbing backstories by Mr. Nightmare.
This video is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on the historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. You're allowed to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland. And with that, you'll receive an official certificate with a crest. This certificate features a unique plot number with which you can see the exact location of your land. And with every order, 1 tree will be planted, as they work with the global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. One of the coolest parts is you can officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it put officially on your credit card, plane tickets, and other documents. It makes a great last-minute gift. Plus, if you use the code Mr. Nightmare, you get an additional 10% off. And there's currently a Black Friday sale for up to 80% off, plus a free gift. Go to establishedtitles.com/Mr. Nightmare to get your gifts now and help support the channel. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. So if you want to buy a fun gift or souvenir while also doing something good for the environment, click the link in the description. It's unfortunately very easy for people to find your information online, and that includes your phone number. Whether it's already on the internet public to everybody or available for purchase on websites like White Pages. If you're getting text from an unfamiliar number, it's usually safe to assume it's a scam or someone you might not want to be talking to. a 20-something-year-old girl from Los Angeles, who I'll refer to as Tina, was using an online dating app called OkCupid. She had matched with a guy named Richard, age 26, tall, black hair, average build. Tina says he looked pretty attractive in his pictures, which he had 4 of on his profile, which were all of him posing in different places. One with his dog, one in his car, one selfie, and one in front of a scenic waterfall. He lived only a couple miles away from Tina, and the two messaged back and forth for a while on the app, mingling over how long they've lived in the city for and where they've been to, etc. Eventually they exchanged numbers and started texting, with Richard quickly suggesting the two go on a date. Some of the text read as follows: "What are you up to tonight?" "Taking care of my dog and then relaxing. I'm exhausted." "Okay, I was gonna ask if you wanted to go on a date or something." "Not tonight. What about tomorrow though?" "Yeah, that works for me. We can go to the Stalking Horse. I think that's like right in the middle of both of us." "Yeah, that works." So the two agreed to a date the following night at a brewery that's not far from either of them. The conversation continues to go completely normal as the two are on their way to the bar. While Tina is on her way in an Uber, it appears that Richard may possibly be walking to the bar. He gets there before her and holds a spot at the bar for them. The text communication stops for a while once Tina lets him know that she's arrived, and so she goes inside to meet him and their date begins. They were in there for about an hour before Tina had to cut the date short due to being completely uncomfortable. She says from the first minute, she knew something about his vibe was off, that he just had a weird aura. She didn't like the way he looked at her, or his mannerisms, or his conversational skills. She found that he'd laugh at uncomfortable things and ask inappropriate questions, and even make weird faces, mostly with his eyes. Around the hour mark, she said she had to head home. Richard insisted he'd walk her home instead of having her Uber. Tina, at the time, says she was way too nice to people and often couldn't say no to things, so she reluctantly agreed to let him walk her home. It was a 20-minute walk, and the whole time she still felt the same unusual energy he'd given off inside the bar. She tried to be short with her answers to him. By the time they got to her apartment, he initiated a hug goodbye at the front of her driveway and she went inside. Not long after, she received this text: "Did I do something wrong? I got the vibe you were acting weird the way back. I was just trying to be nice." "Hey, no, you didn't do anything wrong. I just truthfully feel like we didn't really connect on a deeper level, and that's completely fine. But at this moment in my life, I'm just looking for that special connection with someone. I'm sorry, but I wish you the best. You were very nice." What? It was one date. Obviously you won't feel a deeper connection immediately. That's what getting to know someone is. It takes multiple dates. "I'm sorry, I just don't think I'm interested." By this point, Richard gets very angry and aggressive, saying things like he wasted $100 on her and telling her to get back on her stupid dating apps. But then after Tina stops answering, Richard sends a very clear threat that he knows where she lives now. Tina sends one final response and then blocks Richard's number. She hoped that would be the end of it, but about 15 minutes after blocking his number, there was a manic pounding at the front door, and the angry screams of Richard were coming from the other side. Tina didn't give any kind of response. She hid in her bedroom until the bangs stopped. When she went to look through the peephole, she saw Richard standing by the side of her door, hiding from view. She called the police on him, and when they showed up, she went outside. Richard was still there, so she showed the officers the text and explained to them that Richard was pounding on her door and she felt threatened. The officers gave him a warning and asked him to leave the premises. Still, knowing Richard now knew where she lived, she wasn't comfortable. In fact, she didn't want to leave her apartment the next night, and when she looked out the peephole again, she saw Richard sitting on the stairs leading up to her apartment, waiting. She once again called the police, and for a second time, the police came and gave Richard another warning, asking him to once again leave the premises. Tina begged them to arrest him and charge him, but they seemed unwilling to do so, saying he wasn't an imminent threat, shockingly. Tina called a guy friend the following few days to come escort her out of her apartment anytime she'd leave to be safe, and Richard was no longer there. But a week later, she received a text from a random number saying, "Are you home?" She didn't answer and blocked the number. Since the police department was unwilling to do anything, Tina ended up moving apartments because of this harassment. This next one was sent to me by a girl named Marissa, who had been contacted by a crazy ex who she hadn't spoken to in years. She dated her ex Dylan on and off for 3 years, and in her words, she didn't have a backbone when she would see him. And even though their relationship was kind of abusive, she'd find herself constantly going back to him. After their final breakup, Marissa asked Dylan to stop contacting her and to pretend she didn't exist. This infuriated him even more, to the point where he knocked on her front door while her parents were home. Her father had to open the door to Dylan, practically trying to fight him when he wouldn't let him in. Things were finally broken off, seemingly for good, when the police got involved. Due to Dylan's history with violence, Marissa's parents convinced her to get a restraining order against him. This, however, didn't prove to be an end-all. For a while, there had been no contact from Dylan. Marissa had blocked any form of contact from him, but there are, of course, other ways around that, what with fake numbers and fake social media accounts. In June, 2 months after the order of protection had been processed, Marissa got a request on her Instagram from a random account named Kyle. It looked like a regular person, so she allowed it to follow her, but she didn't follow it back. Sometime in June, Marissa had posted a story on her Instagram on a date with a guy she had been talking to, in which she tagged the guy she was on the date with. Shortly after, the guy received death threats in all capitals from the Kyle account, and Marissa received a DM as well, saying he's disgustingly ugly. It was pretty clear this was a fake account now, probably run by Dylan attempting to keep tabs on what's going on in Marissa's life. After using Instagram's feature to block the account and any new ones the person makes, she hoped that would be the end of it. After a few weeks of no attempted contact from Dylan, Marissa one night was sitting in her kitchen on her laptop doing homework, when she got a text message from a random number. It was a picture of her sitting there at the counter on her laptop, taken from outside the kitchen window. She was home alone at this time, so it couldn't have been any of her siblings trying to scare her. She looked out the window to see no one, but the picture was clearly taken moments ago, so someone was out there. She closed the blind to the window and called her dad. While on the phone with him, she saw Dylan outside in the backyard at the door, attempting to slide it open. Marissa's father called 911 for his daughter as he rushed home. Dylan was calling into the house at Marissa, demanding she open the door, getting angrier as time went on, and she yelled at him to leave her alone. Dylan got so angry that he punched the glass and broke a hole in it, causing him to start screaming in pain and anger as Marissa saw blood gushing from his hand. Dylan was still in the backyard as police arrived to the house. Marissa grabbed the order of protection document to show them, as Dylan was already in handcuffs. Dylan was charged and sentenced to 3 years in prison for violation of the order of protection and vandalism. This allows Marissa and her family some time to breathe and feel safe, but ideally when he's released, they should probably not be living in that same house anymore for their own safety. This last one goes to show why it's probably best not to entertain random numbers texting you for too long. This one comes from a young girl who I'll refer to as Nicole. She was 14 when this happened, living with her parents in a New York City suburb. Next door is another family of 4 with 2 sons. The sons are both older than Nicole and her sister. The younger son, who was 18, named Gene, had tried to talk to Nicole on several occasions despite their age difference. He was a senior in their high school when she was a freshman, which is how they knew each other at all. Whenever Nicole would be outside, Gene would conveniently come out of his house at the same time and always try to talk to her. He would often try to walk to school with her too. Nicole says Gene is slightly unusual, but she can't tell if he's on the spectrum or not. Still, in the past she's tried to be nice to him, and has agreed to walk to school with him before, mostly because it's only a 10-minute walk. Gene has attempted to get Nicole's number multiple times, and she always politely rejected him, saying she's not looking for anything with anyone at the moment. According to her, it was mildly creepy but somewhat innocent behavior, until he started becoming more pushy. When Gene started to make Nicole uncomfortable by seemingly waiting outside for her and invading her personal space, she started asking her mom to drive her to school in the morning to avoid Gene following her or waiting for her. This got him to stop waiting around for her, but things worsened in a different way. One night, Nicole had a boy from school over in her room. Her bedroom is upstairs. The two were sitting on her bed, and Nicole got a text from an unfamiliar number. The text was very unsettling and alarming, because it said, "I thought you said you're not looking for anyone at the moment." Nicole replied, "Is this Gene?" And he replied, "Maybe." Nicole asked him how he got her number, and he said, "You gave it to me, remember?" But she knew for a fact she didn't give it to him, and she told him that. He ignored her confrontation and said, "Who is that in your bed?" This brought the interaction to a much more invasive level, because now it meant that Gene hadn't just seen the two of them enter through the front of the house, but rather he'd been watching them through the window. Nicole looked out her window, which looked to the neighboring house, at a window to a dark room. The light in this room was never on, and it was thought to be a big closet or spare room. But since the light was out, She couldn't see if Jean was standing at that window or not. She lowered the blind and showed her parents the texts. Nicole's parents went next door and had a conversation with Jean's parents, and learned that Jean allegedly has schizoid personality disorder, but whether or not that diagnosis was accurate wouldn't justify creepy, stalkerish behavior like that. Jean never admitted how he was able to get Nicole's number, but there could be multiple explanations, like getting it through a mutual acquaintance or buying it through a public records website like White Pages. Whether Jean's parents' diagnosis of their son was accurate or not, Nicole knew something was not completely normal about him, and she became afraid to leave her house because of him. Nicole's mom continued to drive her to school after this, and for the sake of both of their daughters' happiness, the family moved to another house in the neighborhood not long after this. Jean has not bothered Nicole since.
Okay, it was 3 more text summer conversations with disturbing backstories. This is top 10 scary ghost videos that will scar your brain by Luke's top 5.
Come on in. 5 months ago, 19-year-old Dylan Rounds mysteriously disappeared from his farm in Lucin, Utah. Search parties have scoured the area, but Dylan has never been found.
We begin tonight with a local family very concerned about their missing son. He seemingly vanished from his farm.
His parents say he was excited to start farming in northwest Utah, but after he planted his crop, he went missing, and now they suspect foul play.
This land in Lucin, Utah might not look like much, but to 19-year-old Dylan Rounds, it was everything.
I'm convinced that it's foul play. Every vehicle he has, a retractor, everything is accounted for and in place.
If you know anything about Dylan's disappearance, his family is begging you to call police.
Lance Kelly from the YouTube channel Earthworm Infotainment decided to join the search for Dylan Rounds, investigating the many abandoned mines and caves in the countryside nearby. On this particular exploration, Lance finds an entrance to the collapsed Bald Eagle mine. Now, it should be noted that the old collapsed mine is said to be haunted. But nevertheless, Lance heads into the small entrance to investigate. What happens next is downright chilling.
All right. A lot of cold air coming out of this one, so it's probably pretty deep. Anyone in here?
Did you hear it? As Lance enters the collapsed mine, he asks, "Anyone in here?" To which someone or something seems to reply, "Come on in." Now, the sound is a bit difficult to hear as Lance's feet are crunching against the loose gravel on the floor of the mine. But I did my best to isolate and enhance the creepy reply. Listen again carefully.
Anyone in here?
As Lance treks further into the abandoned mine, it soon becomes clear that the passage is too small for anyone to be hiding inside. So just who or what could this voice be? You can follow the continuing search for Dylan Rounds over on the YouTube channel Earthworm Infotainment. Gotta see it to believe it. TikTok user Chubby Gooby recently moved into her new home in Reno, Nevada, along with her husband and their 2 cats. Not long after moving in, the cats started to behave in a very odd way.
You know when your pets started to do that, there's something creepy ass in your house, lady.
Our surveillance camera caught this, and I'm a little bit nerved about everything that happens, and the fact that the camera just stopped at the end of this. I'm not really sure what to do about this. Just watch and let me know what you think at the end. My cat never comes up to me like this unless she wants food, so that might have been what it was, but she was acting particularly weird.
What's wrong? What's wrong, baby girl? Why are you looking at me like that?
Our cat just walked away from me, and I felt like she knew it was coming.
What the f? What the f just happened? Hello?
As Chubby Gooby is relaxing with a drink and watching TV, her cat approaches her as if alarmed. But then soon the kitty inexplicably just jumps away. Just then, a flower pot falls from the fireplace as if pushed, and even more strangely, the CCTV camera suddenly drops from its mount on the wall. Late another night, Chubby Gooby and her husband are fast asleep in bed, but something in their house is awake and very active. Something terrifying.
Stop. Hey. Hello.
I was fully asleep at this point and I was trying to wake up.
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Johnson. The fuck was that?
A clothes hamper slides across the floor toward the sleeping couple as a book seems to be yanked from the shelf by an unseen force. The couple awakes confused and in a panic from the sound, but they only realize what happened later, after watching their security video. Even after the events in the house, Chubby's husband is still skeptical. But one night, Chubby hears creepy sounds coming from the basement. After a long discussion, she convinces her reluctant husband to head down to the basement with her to investigate. It did not go well.
Can't believe you have me recording this.
Well, you know.
What do I know?
You don't know. What if something happens and we don't have any explanation for it? Like I said last time, I'm gonna record everything. You don't record it, you don't...
You need to explain that?
That's why I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the 50th freaking night in a row that something's happened.
I think you're exaggerating. Look,
That means
it's a
there's
basement.
something creepy will come out of them. I hate stomp skills.
Yeah. The f is that?
It's a broken frame.
Yeah, that happens.
What the fuck?
What the f?
Okay, we need to go. Go. Go.
Oh, where?
Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Gee, go. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs.
The fuck?
Go upstairs.
Chubby Gooby's skeptical husband is now convinced as random things start to fall and eerily move across the basement floor right in front of his eyes. The terrified couple runs right back upstairs.
You
So
should
could it be that
move
the
out
couple's
of
new
here,
home is haunted?
people.
Let me know what you think.
Hell no.
The Man in Black. This next creepy video is a bit of a mystery, as it was shared to the internet without a source. So the story goes that the video was filmed by a young tourist in Europe while exploring an abandoned old monastery, and without even knowing, he captures something truly chilling.
The fuck? Did you see that in the
A
fucking
figure dressed in what
doorway?
looks like a long black monk's robe appears briefly in the doorway before just disappearing into thin air. The tourist didn't even realize what he had just filmed and only discovered the figure when rewatching his footage later. But with no definitive source, is it real or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. If you found a great ghost video online or recorded one yourself, please send it my way at nukestop5@gmail.com. Uninvited. Nick Perry from Roseville, California says that he witnessed a dark shadow figure while driving on the allegedly very haunted Dyers Lane Road 2 years ago. Nick is convinced that this dark, sinister thing attached itself to him and even followed him home. He says that since that night, he has experienced terrifying paranormal activity in his home. Now, fearing that his family and friends might think he's lying or maybe just went right off the deep end, Nick says that he never told anyone about the strange incidents in his house. But he claims that the paranormal activity in his home has become more frequent and more intense. So he has decided to record the incidents on his new YouTube channel called The Hooker. No idea why that name. But anyway, late one night, Nick starts to hear something and grabs his camera. What he catches on video is truly bizarre.
So I thought Fawn and David were back. I just got out of the shower and I heard, well, it sounded like a door opening and closing, but oh my God, nobody's f***ing here. And my cat is just staring at the f***ing door. I know, messy room, I know. It's my sister's room. Why she creeps me out for some reason. See, look at her. Staring over there at the f***ing door.
The fuck? I should move out of their
Nick becomes
body.
increasingly more anxious as the unexplained activity soon starts to get more intense.
Don't f***ing scare me, dog.
The hell?
The f***, man. Tough, dog. Why every time I'm f***ing alone, dude?
Unnerved by what he's experiencing, Nick's own dog scares him as he catches the window blinds moving on their own. Nick has no idea that things are about to take an even more terrifying turn. One night, Nick is taking a cute little video of his cat when he captures something downright chilling.
Meow. What?
Yeah,
What are you going in there?
kitty.
This is random.
The hell was that bad? The fuck was in the fucking chop?
What was that, dude?
Nick hears a bang, and as he exits the bathroom to investigate, a small dark figure can be seen in the bathtub as his camera pans by. But Nick doesn't even notice it until he checks his camera footage later. Nick now becomes determined to try to catch video of the odd shadow figure again, so he sets up more cameras to record around his house while he is away. Late one evening, he returns to find this.
the hell? Did you see it? Like it's right here where my cursor is. Oh, the fuck?
Someone or something can be seen walking around the living room, but nobody's home. So just who or what is this? Nick believes that the dark figure he saw years ago on Dyer's Lane followed him home and is still haunting his house. But what do you think is going on here? You can follow Nick's continuing search for answers over on his YouTube channel, The Hooker. The Outback Skinwalker. This next creepy video was posted to Reddit by Australian Reddit user Hasbeen42 with the caption, quote, "My friend recorded a potential skinwalker." So Reddit user Hasbeen42's friends are out in the woods of Australia late one night when they encounter this.
We out here hearing weird noises in the forest. What the what the what the
The friends have no idea what they captured on camera, and Hasbeen42 took it upon himself to post the video to Reddit in search of answers. The friends believe they might have captured a skinwalker, but what do you think this could be? Is it a skinwalker or just some strange Aussie critter?
Australia have some crazy ass shit.
The most haunted hotel in Texas. The Menger Hotel was built in 1859 in San Antonio, Texas. It was constructed on the old battlegrounds of the Texas Battle of the Alamo. Then years later, during the Civil War, the hotel was converted into a hospital for wounded and dying soldiers. With a history like that, it's not surprising that the hotel is considered to be a hotbed for paranormal activity. Over the years, the hotel staff members and guests have had countless strange supernatural encounters. Back in 2009, hotel guest Ricky Garcia had a first-hand experience with one of the hotel spirits when he was recording footage of the beautiful, historic interior.
Yo, did you see that ghost walking around the...
A translucent figure about the size of a child can be seen walking on the other side of the main hotel hall on the second floor. And Ricky isn't the only one who captured a ghost on camera on the Menger Hotel's second floor walkway. 4 years later, in 2013, hotel guest Felicia Powell captured this photo of the same area on the second floor of the Menger Hotel. In the photo, a child guest at the hotel dressed in red can be seen walking along, but no one knows who or what is walking behind her.
Yo!
So is it true that the Menger Hotel is haunted? And just what walks the stair landing on the second floor? Let me know what you think. The Last Stop. Popular Korean YouTuber Dosha from the paranormal YouTube channel Dosha Michael sets out to explore a creepy abandoned bus company located somewhere in South Korea. Now, not much is known about the mysterious bus company or why it was left abandoned, but Dosha believes that the location is haunted by the spirit of an old man that used to live inside one of the only remaining buses on the property. In an attempt to capture the ghost of the old man, the YouTuber sets up a GoPro camera to record the bus while he explores the rest of the enormous site. And this is when things start to get really creepy.
방금
That
소리 뭐
because
들었어요?
the boss's
엄청
skull
크게 소리.
got open.
A loud bang can be heard, startling Dosha as he's setting up his GoPro. Now, a bit freaked out, he eventually leaves to explore the building. But after a few hours, he doesn't really find or experience anything in the abandoned bus depot. So he grabs his static camera and just heads home. But when Dosha looks back at his captured footage of the bus, he's shocked when he realizes what his static GoPro camera recorded. Something can be seen walking past the bus and out of frame. Dosha has no idea who or what this could be. So, he returns the next day and leaves the GoPro in the exact same spot. What his camera captures that night is absolutely chilling.
Something in the dog. Yo. Creepy ass boss. What solid I missed?
First, something can be seen moving around inside the bus. Then a little later, a dark mist-like figure can be seen looking out the window on the second floor before moving back out of sight. So could it be that Dosha captured the ghost of the old man who used to live inside the bus? Let me know what you think. You can watch this entire video and many more spooky ghost investigations with English subtitles over on the YouTube channel, Dosha Michael. Creature or compression? Pakistani Reddit user Phantom881999 says that late one night the strange CCTV footage was captured just outside his dad's workplace.
Fuck was that?
Now the Redditor definitely admits that this could simply be a strange glitch in the compression on the camera. But why does one of these two people look like they are hunched over and walking on four legs? So is this weird compression or a weird creature? Let me know what you think. A little evil. Popular ghost hunter Ehab Kasmia sets out to investigate a completely abandoned neighborhood on a mountain in Jordan. Now, nobody knows exactly why dozens of homes were deserted in an otherwise thriving city, but locals claim that the neighborhood was plagued by a sinister jinn taking the form of a human child. As Ehab goes from home to home, he doesn't really find much and only hears a few strange noises. But that changes as he gets higher and higher up the mountainside. In one of the empty, dilapidated homes, this happens.
He's gonna be a stop skill.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Did you see it? Ehab doesn't notice when a small childlike hand moves out of sight right behind a doorway. Clueless as to what just happened, Ehab leaves the home and heads to the next house even higher up the mountain. As he explores, something happens that shocks him to his core.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
When Ehab switches to the selfie mode on his phone, he is shocked when he sees the face of a child watching him from outside the window. He races outside, but there's no one there. Now, there is no one around this mountain for miles, and there certainly shouldn't be a child out alone in this dangerous abandoned neighborhood. So Ehab is now starting to believe that the local legends are true. He thinks the mountain might just really be haunted by a malevolent entity that takes the form of a child. But, as always, you decide. Just pulling your leg. This next video has been circulating the internet, but unfortunately no one seems to know the original source. So, somewhere in Asia, a child is innocently crawling across the floor. Then this happens.
The hell?
The light in the room suddenly flashes off, just as the crawling child's legs seem to be pulled by something that we can't see. Incredibly upset by the occurrence, the crying child charges forward wildly as if to try to escape whatever might be after him. Or is he being pushed? It's kind of hard to tell. But with no source for the video, I guess we'll never know.
Oh, kid.
Thanks so much for watching. Lately, my upload schedule has been completely ridiculous. So, please be...
Okay, that was top-down scary ghost video that was scar your brain by Mr. Nightmare.
The Legend of Slender.
Okay, this is 12 serious Slenderman sightings caught on camera by Chills.
The Legend of Slenderman has many different origins, but it always involves a long-limbed, faceless creature with a penchant for business suits and eating kids. Though just an internet urban legend, most of the people on this list say they thought he was just a myth until they saw him up close. Number 12. Two friends are making a random video on a trampoline somewhere out in the countryside. They appear to be all alone until a tall stranger in a business suit steps out from behind a shed and leers at them. The two friends quickly bolt in the opposite direction, and we don't get to see what happens next, so it's hard to say if this was a prank or not. One thing I noticed was how Slenderman's head comes up to the roof of the shed. This places him at about 7 or 8 feet tall, which is about the same size as the legends say. Then again, I guess it could have been a friend standing on something to give themselves more height. Number 11. A student is doing some schoolwork on his computer when somebody comes in and starts recording. They have a short conversation that's interrupted by a large figure standing in the darkened doorway behind them. The creature's head almost touches the ceiling, and its arms are so gigantic and long that they don't even fully fit in the camera frame. Its arms look long enough to pluck them from the couch and drag them to their doom. Fortunately for them, the two friends get away just in time and take off. They glance back for a moment only to find Slenderman silently regarding them from the top of the stairs. Now that you've seen this on video, I'm eager to hear if you think this was a real Slenderman sighting or just someone in a really good costume. Number
Hell
10.
no.
I'm not sure where this short video comes from, but it's probably somewhere in Europe since they are driving on the left side of the road. The driver is traveling at a decent rate of speed, and suddenly Slenderman descends upon them. It could just be a weird camera angle, but Slenderman looks extremely tall and lanky here. His limbs almost look too long to belong to a person. He's roughly half as tall as the light post he's standing next to. So to me, this is either a mannequin or the real thing. Number 9. A YouTuber named Travis Andrew Barker and his brother were watching the movie Titanic one day.
Yeah.
His brother noticed someone in the background who looked completely out of place. Travis wasn't sure if his brother was just messing with him, but as it turns out, he was telling the truth after all.
If you can see right there, we pause the movie and there's Jack and there's Rose. If you look back there, you'll see the Slenderman.
I honestly can't say that I've seen this movie that many times, so I'm not sure how legitimate this sighting is. If you are familiar with the movie and recognize the scene, then please let me know what is going on here and explain who this mysterious background character is.
Like, I've seen Titanic a million fucking times. Never seen that in the movie. It kind of too much clear to see where the part of the movie is, but fucking creepy, man. Fucking creepy, man.
If nobody can come forward with details, then this very well may be the first Slenderman sighting in a Hollywood movie. Number 8. A YouTuber named Lothvan hears a knock at 4:30 in the morning. This has been going on for quite a while, and he's finally had enough, so he grabs his camera and heads out. He films the outside scenery for a bit and catches nothing but crickets chirping under a night sky, or so he thinks. He looks at the video later and notices a small white face peering back at him from the shadows. Lothvan is now convinced that this is proof of how Slenderman stalks him and haunts his dreams at night. I'm curious as to whether or not you think someone was really there, or if this all sounds made up. Number 7. A YouTuber named Scaredy Cat thinks he saw a tall stranger rummaging around his property, so he goes into his house and grabs a phone to record with. He cautiously makes his way back to where he last spotted the intruder, and it isn't long before he finds him again. Actually, this time, it looks like Scaredy Cat is the one who is discovered instead of the other way around.
So I'm not sure. I'm going to try and capture it on tape now. Okay.
A humanoid creature appears to be staring directly at him while remaining completely motionless. Scaredy Cat goes running down the street screaming for his life. His reaction sounds pretty genuine, but I'm not sure if this was a real sighting or not. It almost looks like a mannequin that someone could have put out there as a joke. Maybe it could even be an impersonator running around pretending to be the real thing. It just doesn't seem to be the right height to be Slenderman, though some legends say that the creature can change its height at will. Number 6. This deer is eating some corn when suddenly it looks up as if something is approaching. The camera jumps ahead and barely manages to catch this strange fleeting movement on the right side of the screen. The shadowy figure has everyone talking about the possibility of Slenderman, who apparently has been rumored to be in this forest for years. It kind of looks like it might be wearing a business suit and has an all-white head completely devoid of all features, but it's hard to tell for sure. Number 5. A YouTuber named Frostbitten looks out his window one evening and sees what he thinks is Slenderman peering up at him from below.
Is that a fucking window?
You can see it much better when he moves away from the screen door.
Green dog.
Crap. I do see what he's talking about, and so do some other viewers in the comments section. I can't tell for sure, but it looks like something with a pale head and long arms might be looking up at him. I can't really make out if it's wearing a suit or standing behind the tree.
Kinda
Then
looks
again,
like
maybe
a
this human-like shape
tree.
is simply light reflecting off of the woods. Let me know if you can see what Frostbitten is talking about, and if you agree with him or not. Number 4. Imagine going out for a relaxing day on the beach and seeing this mysterious figure walking just a couple of miles away. This tall man with a bright white head and all black clothes walks towards the water as if nothing is out of the ordinary. I will add that this area looks pretty lonely, and there's really no reason for anybody to dress up like Slenderman as a prank here. It's too bad the person filming wasn't able to get any closer, though I can certainly respect their desire to keep as much space as possible. Number 3. This surveillance footage looks like it was taken on an academic campus of some sort. The security camera is glitching out and skipping frames, which is supposed to be a clear indication that Slenderman is near. Look closely here, and you can see a transparent figure in the upper left. Then, without warning, a tall figure is suddenly looming over a young boy. Slenderman yanks the boy high into the air by both arms, and then the video quickly cuts off. I noticed in the bottom right corner that this camera was marked Camera 01, but I wasn't able to find footage from any of the other cameras. If somebody recognizes this location, then maybe we can do some more precise investigating and get to the bottom of this mysterious sighting. Number 2. A group of friends are recording themselves lifting weights and basically just joking around in a small gym. The situation suddenly becomes very serious when one of them leaves the room and then comes rushing back to bang on the glass for help.
You say I ain't gonna pick you up.
4.
No way. What? What is it? Where are you doing?
A tentacle-like appendage seems to wrap around their friend's waist and pulls him away. The group goes outside and searches for their friend Nathan, but he has vanished. Then another friend goes missing too.
There.
Hey, come on.
I could count as one.
Open the door. Open the back.
The two survivors run back into the building to talk about what just happened. One of them is in complete denial and thinks that they are simply being pranked. They are talking about whether this is really happening or not, when suddenly their worst fears are confirmed.
You're not laughing at this? This is crazy. This is hilarious. That's nasty. That's nasty.
Well, there is a strong possibility that
That's nasty. This is crazy. This is hilarious. That's nasty. That's nasty.
Like, holy fucking shit, man.
Well, there is a strong possibility that this could be CGI. The uploader has not come out and said that this was a short film. Instead, they insist it's real. Most of the people in the comments section agree that this is authentic, but I definitely like to hear what you think. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. I'm currently doing a super poll on my Instagram. If you believe ghosts are real, then go to my most recent photo and tap the like button. If you don't, DM me saying why. When you're done, come right back to this video to find out the number 1 entry. Chills merch is now available, and I'm gifting viewers who spend over $100 with a 100% free Foot Lettuce t-shirt to show my appreciation. This offer won't last forever, so get yours by visiting chillsmerch.com. Also, follow me on Twitter at YT_chills because that's where I post video updates. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person, so if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way you'll be notified of the new video I upload every Thursday. Number 1. Two friends are riding around in the country when they come across an old house that gives off a strange feeling. They have nothing better to do, so they decide to investigate the old wooden structure in search of adventure. They are still outside of the house when their camera starts to mess up, a clear sign that Slenderman is near. They don't think much of the electronic disturbance and continue to poke around the perimeter. Eventually, they find a doorless entrance and step inside, and that's when things go terribly wrong. Something bad seems to have wrecked this house. It's trash from the inside, and a part of it has collapsed in ruins. They aren't in there for long before they decide they've seen enough and want to leave. But when they go for the exit, something goes for them.
Oh shit.
Slenderman reaches for them, and the sound cuts out on the camera as they scramble for a different exit. They barely make it out alive. According to many believers, this still frame is the closest anyone's ever come to capturing Slenderman's true form. Your shadow follows you wherever you go, and perhaps other shadows do.
Okay, that was 12 serious Slenderman sightings caught on camera by Chills. Hell no! This is 5 creepiest sounds of all ever recorded by Dark 5.
V-1 Buzz Bomb. The V-1 flying bomb was an early cruise missile developed by the German Third Reich Luftwaffe, its Air Force, created under a project codenamed Cherry Stone as part of a weapon series aptly titled Vengeance Weapons, or V-Weapons. These were intended for strategic terror bombings to instill fear in the hearts of civilians. The V-1s were launched towards the UK in spots where Allied forces grouped starting in 1942. During the height of the war, around 100 of these terrifying planes were being deployed per day towards England. The V-1 was powered by an Argus pulse jet engine, the only mass-produced manned aircraft to use such a system, that pulsed 50 times per second and generated an ominous noise, a terrifying buzzing that colloquially baptized the V-1 the Buzz Bomb or the Doodle Bug. It is said that this sound caused considerable psychological distress, as targets could hear the noise but not know where the bombs would land, especially when several V-1s were simultaneously present. Due to the short range of the engine type, most of the V-1 flying bombs headed to the UK needed to be launched from neighboring France or the coastal regions of the Netherlands. By the end of the war, over 10,000 V-1s had been launched towards Britain at speeds up to 400 miles per hour, 640 kilometers per hour, and at altitudes up to 3,000 feet. These attacks decreased as the Allies took back the launching ports from the Third Reich, ending attacks on the English in 1944. Among countermeasures was the use of Hawker Tempests to intercept the bombs. Rather than shooting the V-1s and risking a mid-air explosion, the planes would approach within 6 inches, 15 centimeters, to induce an aerodynamic flip. The difference in air pressure above the plane's wing would disrupt the airflow over the V-1 surface and send it crashing before it reached a populated area. The last V-1 launching port was reclaimed by the Allies in March of 1945 in the Low Countries. Operation Wandering Soul. Operation Wandering Soul was a U.S. propaganda and psychological warfare campaign against the Viet Cong launched during the Vietnam War. The operation was inspired by Project Ghost Army, a tactic used in World War II by the Allied forces where they would play recordings of moving Sherman tanks so that the Wehrmacht would be fooled into believing that more tanks were present than there actually were. Operation Wandering Soul was developed by the 6th Psychological Operations Battalion, or 6th PSYOP, of the U.S. The Navy was charged with the actual execution. From speakers mounted on swift boats and helicopters, U.S. soldiers broadcast an unsettling soundtrack titled Ghost Tape No. 10, with supernatural sounds, funeral music, mournful wailing, and altered voices from the afterlife. The imagined ghosts implored the Viet Cong soldiers to surrender and go home, lest their souls meet a similar fate. South Vietnamese participants helped the U.S. record haunting messages such as, quote, "Don't end up like me. Go home, friends, before it's too late."
Fucking creeping, man.
The recording sought to exploit the Vietnamese beliefs about death and spirituality by instilling fear that the souls of the lost soldiers were now aimlessly wandering the jungle. This targeted the belief that the dead must be buried in their homes, surrounded by friends and family, or bad fortune will follow, and that the deceased must be buried properly in their homeland, or their soul will wander aimlessly. While the United States might have successfully spooked some members of the Viet Cong, it's difficult to address the effects of the campaign, since those who responded to the recording usually met enemy fire. In some cases, the Vietnamese recognized the hoax for what it was and actually shot in the direction of helicopters and boats carrying the speakers. Jericho Trumpets. Mounted on the U-87B dive bomber, Jericho trumpets were the propaganda symbol of German air might. The U-87B dive bomber, also known as Stuka, was being produced at a rate of 60 a month, making a total of 336 planes by the time the Second World War broke out. The propeller-driven sirens on the U-87B had a diameter of 2.3 feet, 0.7 meters, and produced a piercing wail that was used to pummel enemy morale and enhance the intimidation of bombing runs, despite creating 20 miles per hour, 25 kilometers per hour of drag. Alternatively, some bombs themselves had an attached whistle that would sound upon release, terrifying those below.
One of your videos.
Historians debate whether the idea of including these trumpets came from Luftwaffe Colonel General Udet or from Hitler himself. The U-87B played a crucial role in the successes of the Blitzkrieg warfare, whereby the Germans launched rapid attacks from a densely packed line of combined infantry and air support to create gaps in their enemy's lines of defense and complicate any defense with a constantly altered war front. These trumpets became a symbol of terror for opponents of the Third Reich regime, intimidating as any war cry may be. Especially horrific was hearing these planes approach towns or cities packed with civilians. As the planes launched their strike, falling like lightning from the sky, this is what people heard. The death whistles were named after the conquest of Canaan during the biblical Battle of Jericho, recorded in the book of Joshua, detailing how Israelites blew triumphant trumpets around Canaan after bringing the walls of the city down. The Third Reich used the clamor of the Jericho trumpets much like some kings of Judah had used the story of the original battle as propaganda. The downside of these horrific trumpets was that they slowed the planes down, making them less mighty in the face of modern Allied aircraft. After the Battle of Britain in 1940, around 20% of the total U-87Bs had been destroyed, and the fear inspired by its trumpets had been replaced with a better understanding of how to defeat the planes. Atomic bomb. Curiously, survivors from near the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bomb hypercenters did not note hearing the explosions. John Hersey's 1946 report for The New Yorker stated that there was a, quote, noiseless flash. Those further away, however, recalled being hit by a tremendous crack as the air expanded, followed by a groan from the earth that reverberated through their bones. A then third grader who saw the bomb explode, Kimura Yoshiro, said the following, quote, "Everything turned yellow. It was like I'd looked right at the sun. Then there was a big sound a second or two later, and everything went dark. The sound, like a cannon going off, reaches those at a safe distance far later than the site of the explosion. This seemingly disjointed experience happens because light travels faster than sound, and anyone close enough to hear an explosion at the exact time it happens would theoretically be obliterated by the blast. High-quality recordings of nuclear explosions with sound are a rare find. This unedited audio from the Upshot Knothole Annie test is one of the only few publicly available of such an event, recorded in 1953 at the Nevada test site. The 16-kiloton atmospheric burst was broadcast nationally on live TV. It said that about an hour following the Hiroshima and Nagasaki explosions, the air was again cut by thunder that instead signaled a thick, black rain. Hitler's voice. Finally, the fifth creepiest sound of war is one that disturbs and chills hearts for its scarcity. In 1942, Adolf Hitler's natural speaking voice was secretly recorded during a private conversation in a rail car. It's one of the only recordings in existence of the Führer using his normal, non-shouting voice. Hitler's visit with Finland's General Carl Gustaf Emil Mannerheim happened in secret. Hitler entered Finland with the excuse of congratulating Mannerheim for his birthday. Mannerheim received him at Imatra, not wanting to turn the visit into anything resembling an official state event. At the German's personal train, a sound engineer named Thor Dahmen was tasked with recording Hitler's official birthday message. Once that was done, he bravely continued to record for 11 minutes, until the Führer's SS guards became aware that the microphone was still on. They subtly threatened Dahmen and ordered the destruction of the tape. Instead, the tape was turned over to the Kustavikuna, the state's censorship office, and was made public a couple of years after 1957. At the meeting, Hitler launched into a rambling monologue where he expressed frank concerns about having underestimated the USSR's military mobilization and marveled at the country's crazy and immense armament of 35,000 tanks. He says of the USSR what many around the world had begun thinking of him, quote, "We didn't know ourselves just how monstrous this powerful beast was." This is what his tranquil, chilling voice sounded like when it was away from the podiums and microphones.
Ich habe so bedauert, dass wir vor 2 Jahren dem finnischen Volk im ersten Freiheitskampf nicht helfen konnten. Aber es war nicht möglich, wir sind im Westen gebunden. Und ein Zweifrontenkrieg ist nicht durchführbar. Und ich bin sehr glücklich, dass wir jetzt zum zweiten Mal, ich hoffe dieses Mal endgültig, den Kampf gegen einen Gegner durchführen, der, wenn er siegen würde, nicht
creepy.
It was rumored that during the meeting, Mannerheim refused Hitler's request for Finland's help against the USSR after deducing Hitler's weak position by lighting a cigar and receiving no rebuke, in spite of the Führer's widely known objection to smoking.
Okay, that was 5 creepiest sounds of all ever recorded by Doc 5. Relevant 10G TI watch one of his videos. I'll be back. Hey, I'm back.
Some giant creature.
Okay, this is 11 giant creatures caught on tape by Chills.
Some giant creatures are all over the internet, while others are less frequently seen. Number 11. This mysterious blob recently oozed its way onto the shores of Acapulco, Mexico. It has no smell and therefore is not a floating piece of sea garbage. As curious officials poked and prodded this formation, they were surprised to feel a full skeletal system underneath. The floppy deflated area in particular looks like it could have been the head. The many holes were probably numerous eyes that have since been picked clean by hungry fish. Researchers are clueless as to what this could possibly be, but if you think you know something they don't, then I welcome your best guess. Judging from its huge size, I'm guessing this creature had very little predators and could have eaten practically anything it wanted. Number 10. This underwater video was shot aboard the EV Nautilus, a famous research vessel owned by the same person who found the sunken Titanic. Little does the crew know they are moments away from yet another mystifying discovery, this time in the Gulf Coast of Mexico. Off in the distance, they spy a giant creature coming at them fast. You can hear both surprise and fear in their voice as they order the captain to retreat.
What?
Or it could be fishing line. You don't want that.
Back up.
Huge siphonophore.
It could be.
What looks like a long floating rope of intestine is actually a creature known only as a siphonophore. I'm not sure if it is being carried by the currents or moving on its own, but at one point it does come close to the team and almost seems to demonstrate a limited degree of curiosity as it hovers nearby. If you think this particular specimen is large, they can actually grow to be hundreds of feet long. Siphonophores are carnivores, but thankfully for us humans, this one seems to prefer the bottom of the ocean floor, far away from where we tend to swim. Number 9. A Russian YouTuber named Diamond Operator rides his bike past a giant creature that is easily twice the size of a person. The creature uses its many legs to easily close the distance between itself and Diamond Operator. When it gets within spitting range, it unleashes some sort of sludge all over his rear camera. Look past the slime and you'll see a European cop car chase it away at the last moment before it's too late. Hopefully the police were able to sort the situation out, whatever it was, and for the future of the human race, I hope there aren't more of them out there lying in wait. Number 8. This video, taken in Jacksonville, Florida, and posted to YouTube by the Jacksonville Zoo, momentarily shows a gigantic dinosaur-looking creature with an impossibly long neck that stretches up to meet the roof of a nearby building. You only get to see the creature for a split second before they take off and keep running, which seems like a realistic response to me. However, since the creature does not move at all, it could be a statue or CGI. Also, the beginning of the video shows them just kind of standing around, and I really doubt something of that size could sneak up so close without anyone noticing. Number 7. Everyone knows about the ostrich, but few people know about the wild cassowary, another 100-pound bird that can do you in with a razor-sharp inside talon. First of all, check out this vicious low kick. This would have no problem slicing you or me wide open, and the hissing scream it makes is unlike any other bird.
Down!
Run at you and I'll just keep kicking. Hit her in the air and he'll go for your throat, your stomach or your groin.
And that's just a kick standing still. When one of these giant birds is running at you at top speed, they can deliver a flying talon straight to your jugular. They are highly aggressive and will almost always defend their territory to the very end.
Yeah,
Number
don't
6.
fuck with that
Nobody
bird.
is sure what the US forces are doing in this 2014 video taken from an undisclosed location somewhere in New Mexico apparently. Soldiers kneel down as a blast rips through the air. It looks like it hits nothing at all, but then the edges of the ripple inward to reveal what could be the outline of a giant round invisible creature. Some people are claiming this is simply a drill using new technology we don't know about. Others say that this is not an exercise at all, but rather a real desert battle with a creature. Listen to the noise it makes and tell me if you think this is the sound of a passing fighter jet or the terrifying roar of a real monster.
Dash 3 good hits.
Number 5. On this night in Florida, a YouTuber named Deer Meat for Dinner is after a different type of wild game than his name would suggest, something much more dangerous. You'll have to go to his channel to see exactly how they managed to land this giant creature, because it's a battle that unfortunately I can't show here, but the end result is just as terrifying as the battle itself. 4 grown men struggle to pull a gator aboard, whose jaws are easily as broad as their shoulders. Every square inch is a battle that brings the boat closer to its tipping point. They have to take numerous breaks, and for a while it looks like they might lose their grip and let their catch sink to the bottom. The entire time I'm waiting for the gator to snap back to life. As they roll it onto the boat, Deer Meat for Dinner orders everyone away from the tail that could easily snap a leg.
There's all kind of lines in there.
When they get back, the team needs an actual heavy-duty crane to lift the giant beast up and get a final measurement. It's 13 feet and 2 inches long and weighs 1,127 pounds, a new Florida record. I feel like you can really gain a better idea of its size from this angle. The YouTuber is a pretty tall guy, and this thing's tail alone comes up all the way to his head. Number 4. Barrett rods is spending the day kayak fishing when a terrifying creature suddenly takes flight above water. At first it just sits on the surface and then it makes its move. The bizarre creature is larger than Barrett's arm. It has a snake-like body, a large hole for a mouth, and 2 elongated fins that look very sharp to the touch. At 8 seconds into the video, Barrett raises his hands in surprise, but I doubt it would have been enough to protect him. Fortunately, the animal changes its trajectory at the last second and silently sinks back into the water. I guess it must have bitten through the fishing line. Number 3. This next entry has appeared in many different giant creature videos, and I just wanted to lay the rumors to rest while also properly crediting the original source. This sighting of a giant creature in Vancouver belongs to a talented YouTuber named Hollywood Scotty, who is known for professional special effects. Obviously, the chances of a special effects designer happening upon a giant monster in real life are very slim. Still, this video has fooled many people since 2017 and is definitely a testament to his skills. Be sure to check out his other videos. You may find a few other famous sightings that you thought were real too. Number 2. This giant flat creature is actually a beached oarfish laying on its side. A confirmed bystander pushes it back into the water with her paddle, which could be a mistake because it proceeds to head directly for the person holding the camera.
Oh my god.
Although it seems more concerned with getting away than taking a bite, this is still not an animal that I would want to have anywhere near me, especially in such shallow waters. It almost seems to make eye contact as it passes directly under her feet before straightening out and swimming away. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. These friends are playing in the woods when something out of place catches their eye and gives them pause. Completely filling the wide gap between 2 nearby trees is a tall dark figure that may or may not be wearing a business suit.
Slenderman. Okay, that was 11 giant creatures caught on tape by sales. Okay, guys, this is going to be my last video, and it's 10 Siren Head sightings caught taped by Chills again.
Siren Head sightings are being reported all over the world. After a 30-year slumber, it appears to have awakened. Number 10. A YouTuber called Paranormal World repeatedly hears haunting voices of small children in this forest, voices coming from areas too dense for any person to even get to. I can't understand what the kids are saying either. Can you? Probably not. It sounds like something doing an impression of children, lots of them, though none of them are speaking English per se, and with no real human emotion. Soon the voices are accompanied by whatever this is.
Golf damn.
He continues walking around the circumference of the marsh to see if anything is on the other side. Sure enough, he hears this hauntingly familiar sound.
Oh, damn, Siren Head.
I think those harsh beeps are what Siren Head plays when it's still a good distance away, and I think this flat drone is reserved for when it's located its next target. So if you are unlucky enough to hear that noise, it probably means it's already too late. Number 9. A YouTuber named X71 Nawaf is in his home country of Saudi Arabia when he hears a North American emergency weather warning broadcast on a...
What is a North American adult? It's more US. I'm in Canada. And we're going to have that kind of emergency alert.
Clear day in English instead of his native language. Tell me what Siren Head is saying here. I can understand most of what is being said, but I think some words are misspoken because Siren Head doesn't know the language and is merely imitating phrases. My theory is that Siren Head puts out a weather warning to lure people from the safety of their home for a better look. It seems to work because he wanders out of his home and accidentally into the path of Siren Head itself. As he unsuccessfully tries to hide, he learns firsthand the most unsettling fact about Siren Head of all, its ability to imitate those closest to you. The monster suddenly speaks Arabic and sounds like someone who I suspect this YouTuber personally knows, perhaps a family member, except their voice is far away and tiny, because it's that of a cryptid, not really theirs at all. He runs back inside and locks the door, but at this point it's of little use. Once you are spotted, there really is nowhere left to run. Cornered with absolutely no way to defend himself, there's nothing left to do but record his own doom.
The army.
This hand at 1 minute and 46 seconds looks large and real, even in slow motion, fully capable of crushing a normal-sized person without problem, which I'm guessing is what happened next. Number 8.
Ow, fucking dog.
Siren Head's first sighting was in the Arizona desert in the 60s. The next sighting wouldn't be until the 90s in Tanyard Creek, Arkansas. And now in 2020, Siren Head seems to have awakened from its 30-year slumber to stalk and hunt once again. Siren Head is seen and heard crossing Lake Ferguson in Greenland. It looks like it at first, but when you zoom in, the arms look stiffly animated. It also looks somewhat unlevel as it wads through the water, so I'm not sure about this one. Number 7. A YouTuber named DX Army live streams from their hometown of Tanyard Creek, Arkansas, the same place where Siren Head once terrified locals in the summer of 1995. DX Army doesn't believe in Siren Head and feels confident because he and his friends have never even heard of him before until now. Now surrounded by fields and woods on a narrow trail, they accidentally leave their main flashlight behind and can't see as far ahead as they'd like. Still, they've been searching for quite a while and no sirens yet, so it looks like this video could be a bust. At this point, they've pretty much given up on cryptid hunting and are just trying their best not to get too turned around in the middle of the night. They're really deep in the woods when this happens. They aren't sure what direction to go next when they realize any direction is better than forward. The siren sounds faint at first.
Stuck in there to be caught. No, I think we should go back like this way.
But as they linger in place, it gets their scent and grows louder.
Hello? Did you hear that?
And suddenly changes into a chittering laughter as it prepares to hunt them down.
The freak?
Now they retrace their steps with more urgency than before, blindly charging into spiky vines that dig into their skin. Just when they think they are in the clear, a stranger calls out for help. Not quite human, but close. And I hear a beep immediately after.
Hold up! You hear that? Whoa! Hey!
They are still in complete disbelief and in shock too, scrambling to reason that it might be a park ranger or something. Anything besides what they know it to be, Siren Head.
Dude, what is that? Whoa! Whoa! Ah!
As it towers over them in the darkness, the DX Army learns, all too late, that Siren Head is there. Maybe they constructed a giant Siren Head statue themselves and acted scared, but if so, that seems like it would be pretty heavy to carry around and set up around different parts of the forest for almost 40 minutes, so I think this might be real. Number 6. Siren Head itself is as skinny as a tree and tends to stay in sparsely wooded areas much like this one to better blend in. A YouTuber named Morion recorded this Siren Head sighting on December 10th of 2019, many months before the cryptid became popular enough to go viral. He was alone in the woods when he heard this unforgettable noise. He stood very still as it walked by, and this is what he saw.
Chicago siren.
A person in the comments section said that this sounds like tornado sirens from Chicago, and I wanted to get the
like I seen videos where Chicago tornado sirens were blowing. Like, damn! I don't want to visit Chicago while they having tornadoes. Mad.
The opinion of anyone who lives there and has heard them. Siren Head is capable of imitating many different sounds. Maybe Chicago is where this video was taken, or maybe this was the sound it decided to imitate at the time. Or if this was edited, then it probably was chosen because it was the creepiest sound effect Morion could find. Number 5. A warning siren rips through the small town. Even though the weather is fine, the loud siren keeps going on and off at random, so this curious resident grabs a camera and goes outside to record it. He never knew it was Siren Head looking for prey. Creepy? Yeah, I think so, but there's a catch. Here are the final moments that other channels aren't showing, and it definitely makes all the difference.
Fake.
This editing error at the end is a total giveaway. Still, this video has gone viral and a lot of people who haven't seen the end are freaking out thinking that it's real. I just wanted to lay the rumors to rest and also say that the creator of this video, a YouTuber named SCP-000JN, has stepped forward to reveal that this is not a real Siren Head sighting after all. Number 4. This Siren Head sighting was taken somewhere in Australia. It looks pretty good at first, but when it moves its arms, it looks choppy and not exactly real. Basically, it looks like it needs a few more frames of animation to smooth out the leg and make it look a little more fluid. At 44 seconds, there's some sort of digital blur where the arm is not visible in the clouds. The perspective looks kind of wrong though, because I don't think its upper half would be sticking out of the clouds like that. Well, this is definitely a scary video. If Australia is free from Siren Head for now is up for debate. Number 3. Richie Roo has a Siren Head sighting for you, or so he claims. Take a closer look. Is this the infamous Siren Head cryptid, or is it just a roof structure? Siren Head is said to have an extremely thin neck pole made of flesh, with 2 small but loud sirens on top, so I do kind of see what he means. It stands still during the day and tries its best to blend in until someone is unlucky enough to wander by, but I'm almost positive that this is just part of the building, because there is an identical looking part sticking out here. There's also a chance I'm completely wrong about this, which would mean there would have to be 2. Number 2. Siren Head seems to prefer wooded and desert climates, as shown in this April 15th sighting in Morocco. Tell me what language is being spoken and what they're saying here. But I think it's odd how this cameraman focuses on this camel rider instead of the giant cryptid ahead. Still, when you zoom in on the cryptid, it has a surprising amount of extra detail that wasn't visible before, including these wires connecting the sirens to its lower legs, so maybe this is a real Siren Head sighting. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. This photograph of Siren Head shows how easily it blends in with its surroundings. Its twisted exoskeleton resembles tree bark and would be easy to miss walking in the forest past sunset. The lighting in this photo looks real. The camera flash is brightest around its chest, and it's similarly bright at the same height on the tree. The way it gets darker around the neck and sirens likewise matches that part of the tree. So was this standing outside of someone's house? I don't know. Someone tell me if this is photoshopped or not, and how you can tell. These are scary videos that...
Okay, that was 10 Siren Head sightings top on tape by Chills. Damn. Well, I've been on for over 2 hours, so if you like this kind of content, hope you smash the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the motherfucking bell. Peace.